Here is Samson's stake. 53 anti-galamsey protesters. Grant them bail. It is embarrassing. First, let me say, MFR Power, sincere gratitude for holding the fort last Saturday. I was at the University of Cape Coast as guest speaker at the 50th anniversary symposium of the Judicial Service Staff Association, JUSAC. Tune in to my weekly legal clinic, The Law, tomorrow 2 p.m. for portions of my speech, that of the Chief Justice, and a couple others on the theme, Judicial Independence and Integrity, Critical Ingredients for Peaceful Election 2024. I had been at a two-day Constitution Review Validation Workshop convened by the Ministry of Parliamentary Affairs. But I spent this week at the final seminar and graduation for the Africa Leadership Initiative West Africa Class 6 to become a fellow of the prestigious Aspen Global Leadership Network. It's been 2 years of intense intellectual brain work engagements with extraordinary human beings, global citizens, whose impacts make one better equipped for leadership of integrity from success to significance. I'll continue to call it as bluntly as it is. I'm acutely aware of the expectation that my take today will be about the Democracy Hub protest against galamsey. Yes, because of what I do, I know what you expect. And many had asked me, you haven't said a word. They are also asking for a new constitution and for good governance. I must keep to my protocol to not focus a take on a subject table for discussion on the show. But one particular act of injustice cannot escape me today. Injustice is one thing I hate to the core. The demonstrators may have misconducted themselves, whatever the cause, and that's why they have been put before court. It is unsurprising that even non-lawyer ordinary citizens have seen the breach of the law by the state, especially in denying them bail. Bail has been used as punishment, contrary to the clear dictates of the law and our established jurisprudence. The law and jurisprudence is that bail shall not be used as punishment. Some have indicted the circuit court judges of making a mockery of justice and the judiciary, as Ghana attracts international embarrassment over the handling of the protesters upon their arrest. Judgeship is a godly duty. It can be a very difficult job. Dr. Richmond Oseichiri, Justice of the High Court, at the 50th anniversary of JUSAC at the weekend, reminded us of the famous statement of Charles Evans Hughes in his 1925 presidential address to the American Bar Association that, quote, "A judge, a poor judge, is perhaps the most wasteful indulgence of the community. You can't refuse to patronize a merchant who does not carry good stock. But you have no recourse if you are hauled before a judge whose mental or moral goods are inferior. An honest, high-minded, able, and fearless judge is the most valuable servant of democracy. For he illuminates justice as he interprets and applies the law, as he makes clear the benefits and the shortcomings of the standards of individual and community rights among a free people, end quote. Let me repeat this caution by the Supreme Court of Ghana in Awuni versus Waek, that, quote, a nation that stands by and looks on while the rights of the individual are slowly pecked at eventually pays the ultimate price of finding its own rights eroded, end quote. The exercise of discretion to wholesale deny bail completely fails the mandatory test in Article 296 that discretionary power carries a duty to be fair and candid. It must not be arbitrary, capricious, or biased, either by resentment, prejudice, or personal dislike, and that the exercise of discretion must accord with due process of law. The protesters face misdemeanor charges, and people are familiar with police granting bail to suspects, including politically exposed persons facing felony charges, including the existential threat of galamsey. Elsewhere, the Minister for Justice will, in the very least, condemn this conduct and will never be heard arguing in support of as long as 2 weeks remand for these protesters. In Kenya, the Lawyers Guild will not only issue a statement, they will be in court to fight the human rights abuse, even if they disapprove the conduct of the protesters. People have a legitimate expectation that the court will check excesses of the police and the Attorney General, the same way it will punish excesses of the protesters if the charges are eventually proven. I am afraid these judges failed the first test of credibility. This is at a time the Chief Justice is working hard through the leading justice vision to change the Afrobarometer verdict of erosion in the trust enjoyed by the judiciary from a high of 65% in 2005 to a low of 36% in 2022. And that is my take. I'll be right back.